Okay, so this is our special meeting on the 28th of May for the Sustainability Advisory Committee. So we are, all right, so sorry, happened here. So we do have quorum for the meeting, and we are continuing to conduct the business at this minute. So okay. I think the first order of business we have is public commentary. So do we have anybody from the public attending the meeting? If anybody wants to make a comment.
Does not look like we have anyone.
Okay, sorry, I might have missed saying I'm calling committee to the order if I missed it. So I'm calling committee to the order now. So, okay. I think the next order really is the introducing a new member. And I had the pleasure of meeting Abigail, who goes by Abby. So Abby, do you mind introducing yourself to the committee?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Abby Hausberg. And I'm really excited to be on the team and looking forward to what we can do.
Hi, Abby. Welcome.
Thank you.
Abby, do you have any kind of background in sustainability or interest?
Sure. Thank you. Hi, Lauren. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
So I'm an attorney, primarily not sustainability or conservation law. I have since moved into that area. I've been doing some work, sort of pro bono basis, and it's sustainability is a passion of mine. And so anywhere where I can incorporate that into the things I do, I try to do that. So I'm excited to really commit here to this team.
Great. Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ditto. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Abby. Thank you very much for joining the committee. We need all the additional extra hands we need to further some of the agenda items we have. Thank you. I think the next agenda item we have is approval of the May 14th. Sorry, I might have a typo in the agenda there. May 14th meeting minutes. So do we have a motion to approve?
I'm struggling to remember which set that was. May 14th. That was the meeting that
Yep.
Lauren wasn't at, and you did the minutes, and I sent you some corrections.
That's correct. That's correct, Cliff. That's what I sent out. Yep.
So I would move to accept those minutes.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Well, actually, Mon, I think you and I were the only ones there.
Okay, then. Well, yeah, okay, I second that.
Second to move those minutes that we read.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you could second is what we heard. Yeah, because I think it was clarified by the first selectman last meeting. We can move because they have read the minutes, and I think that's fine. Okay, so the next agenda item we have is the progress on sustainable city certification. So it's also kind of any meetings you had, so they go hand in hand. So let's see, can we get an update on any of the progress that's been made? I know that Lauren, you had sent out an update, written update. I think looks like the high school students we have assigned have done a great job of completing some of the action items. Can we start with you?
Yeah, let me share if I can you give me access to share? Okay. Yeah, they rocked it. So I was pretty happy to see what they wrote up. So they wrote it in an email. They copied and pasted. I didn't know what to expect from them as a first draft, but they're going to go back. So let me jump to the end. They're going to go back and make a couple more changes based on Carolyn and I met with them and determined that they just need to go through, maybe add some pictures, add some visual items here, and then go back and remove anything that's like 2021 or before, right? Because the look back period for sustainable CT is 2022, right, to 2025. So they're going to go through, make one more pass at this, and then we're going to upload it to the Sustainable CT website. They only covered one action item so far, but they're hoping to do more. So I should have another update soon on, what else they're looking to do. I gave them lots of options because I didn't know what they would be most interested in doing. But they did a great job on this. I'll tell you, and I'll send this to everybody. Mohan, I think I only sent it to you, but I'm sharing it right now on the screen. So basically, I met with them a bunch of times. I explained kind of how things work. And just for Abby's benefit, being new, Abby, are you familiar with Sustainable CT at all?
I spoke with Mohan yesterday and did a little bit of reading after we spoke, but curious to hear everything you have.
Yeah. So, and, happy to give you some background offline, not, during a meeting too, but essentially there's a bunch of actions. We have been certified in the past, Darien has. And so there's a bunch of actions that you can get points for. And so we did kind of a deep dive into what would be more low-hanging fruit for us to see if we could just achieve bronze certification. This is through the Sustainable CT at the state level, towns, municipalities can get certified for Sustainable CT, at different levels if you meet certain action items, right? And so we've went through and we've said, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit here? So I did some write-ups to try to get some students involved. So this is one piece of that, but there's a bunch of different pieces. We have a tracking spreadsheet that we're tracking in our share drive, which you can check out too, and you'll kind of see our progress. So long story short, they went through, they did this invasive species management action. And like some of the different parks and recs initiatives, who worked on it, who are the partners. They went through, they did a lot of links, which were a little concerned. Carolyn and I are a little concerned that the links, if Sustainable CT comes back and says like, hey, we'd rather have like PDFs of what those links are and more specifics and, pictures and things like that, we may have to go back, but hopefully this will be okay for Sustainable CT. They'll get back to us after we submit it, Carolyn said in the first kind of go round of this submittal.
And Lauren, I
yeah.
was in that meeting too with the teenagers, and what Sustainability CT has said is looking at the links in the areas I've done, those were acceptable. And we also said that to the teenagers. What Carolyn's concern is if a link becomes obsolete, somebody, whether it's Connecticut, a different town or city, wouldn't be able to find that link again. So we're trying to avoid obsolete eventual links.
Yeah, well, we don't know if Sustainable CT is going to come back and say, you know what, we really don't like all the links, we would prefer that you do something else. So we'll see what it looks like. So that's the concern here. So we talked about invasive species removal projects. We talked about cherry lawn, organic management, weed beach. Some of these, we are more familiar with. Some of us have been involved in some of these projects in the past. So I can send this for you guys to look at. The Beautification Commission did a number of things and continues to do a number of things. If things continued, even if they ended after 2021, I think if they continued into 2022 to 2025, any of that, we're gonna keep it in there. And then the Pollinator Pathway did a bunch of stuff. There's some educational events. We asked them to add a little bit more information about some of these specific education events, which they'll be able to do by contact with Juliet there, who we know. And then some other specifics at Tilly Pond and Norotan Heights, Darien Nature Center, etc. So I'll send this so you guys can look through. And if you have any other thoughts that you want to give back to the students, that's certainly welcome.
So this is a group at Darien High School that also is looking at sustainability. And what we met with the chair, he said he put in 12 hours on this. So they've put a lot of effort and time into it, and they're very thorough. And I think they're really excited to be part of this initiative.
Yeah, I think we didn't know what to expect, when we put this out there, but I was kind of hoping they would come back with something thorough like this, and they did. So we'll see what they come back with, as the final, and then we'll put it in our files and we'll upload it to Sustainable CT and we'll see what they come back with. So that's the plan. While I'm on Sustainable CT, I think what I'll do is just show you guys our updated tracking spreadsheet. So the Sustainable CT certification is here. We have our audit that we've been tracking, everything. And so under this, we put, the names of the people who are going to be responsible for the actions, the sub-actions, just kind of going through this for Abby's benefit. And then what we think, the points are. So, I don't think we will have time today to go through all of these, but I think we can hit some highlights. One of my notes are that for the ones that I have, I want to try to get everything submitted within the next week. Week or so that they can be properly reviewed by the Sustainable CT, and we can have that opportunity to go around again and fix whatever they come back with. So that's my goal. That's what I plan to do, especially since I won't be available as much over the next month or so. Are there any specifics, Mohan, that you want to go over? Do you want me to go through the spreadsheet?
Thank you, Lauren. First of all, let me say thank you so much, because you just changed the trajectory for engaging our youth students in here, which is the first we have done, at least as part of the committee, which is great. And hopefully they're excited to help us continuing to do this, which is great. I don't think we have to go through any specific item. I would say if we make comments in the spreadsheet itself where we are, that should be good enough, because again, you are following up with those items, and that's great. I think I know that you're gonna take a break. Congratulations. We wish well for you. When you go, just let us know when you return, so that we can allocate anything which is pending in your list to others, whatever the date is, if that's okay with you. That's all I would say. So, but again, thank you for this, because I'm so excited. And then when you do take a break, if you can, we can, and I'm happy to drive with the students if there are other areas they're interested to do, because we want to continue to engage with them. So that's okay. I can facilitate those conversations if that's fine with you.
Yeah, I think, and thank you for that. And it was good that the Amanda jumped on too, and you've been on, so at least you've met the head of the Eco Citizens program at the high school, Kieran. Yeah. Kieran, sorry. So let me just tell you real quick what I told them, because I think it's helpful. So what I'm doing, so in the G Drive, this is the G Drive that you created for us. Again, so under this G Drive, I know you did folders for us separately, but I think anything related to Sustainable CT, what I did was I just started dropping it into this folder. So that we kind of had all the documents. These are all the options I gave to the students. So, they're not necessarily complete, but I just wanted you guys to see what I gave to the students. I'll put the students' information on here. And then what I did was I added a folder for local businesses, which is one category under Sustainable CT. So I thought if you guys want to follow suit, we could have another, we could add folders for all of our specific materials under that topic. If you want to do it like that, if you have a better solution, certainly I'm all ears, but that's kind of where I ended up.
Yeah. So one of the, so I was going to say on the folders, Maybe it's different. We'll see. So the if you see the folders, I was talking to Caroline because she needed some help. Caroline is Caroline on now?
Yeah,
Just jumped on.
I'm
Hey,
on.
Carolyn.
Yes, hi Mohan, I'm here. Sorry I was
Hi,
late.
Caroline. No, that's okay. So yeah, I think what we thought was, maybe let's brainstorm this a bit. So what we thought was, if we create a folder for each action item, right? So we have 13 of them. And then if you create a folder for each action item, the documents can go there because we have a direct linkage back to, that's what we thought. But I think if there's other
Does this make
alternative.
sense? So like local
Sorry, let me
business,
see.
right? Like, so for example, I said under sustainable CT, I put
Yeah.
a local business information folder
Yeah.
and then I dropped all the things that I'm going to put into the sustainable CT application
Yep.
there. So if you want to do
No,
that for the
this
other
makes
topics,
perfect
you can
sense.
do
Can
that.
we just
The only thing I'd add to that is, can you put the number
Yeah.
in front? If we all.
That's
Correct.
probably good.
correct. Right,
Um,
that's what we did. Yeah, if we just put the number and then it's perfect, then we know who is, everything to
Yeah.
that number is there and we have direct linkage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
mhm.
even 1 through 13, I don't know that for
Go on.
that purpose, we need
Sorry.
to get into 4.1, 4.2, 4.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just to say like section 3, section 2.
Well,
When you save them, you'll want to say like 2.3.1A and whatever documents you're putting with that within that folder.
yeah, I use most of them for most of the different like, so they're uploaded for many of them. So I don't want to have to upload them like 3 and 4 times. So it's kind of,
You can change the name of them anytime. So if something is corresponding, and you'll see in the application, they put like this document is related to 2.3.2. Like it tells you what they're related to, so they know where we're trying to get points for that.
well, it says that in the actual application. I know, but in this, like, for example, most of those files that I showed you are going to be under 2.3. So they'll go 2.3.1A, 2.3.2, and then again for 2.4, because that's all local business stuff. So, some of them are duplicate, like, so it's a little tricky. I just kind of threw everything in one folder for now. It might get too time consuming if we try to figure out, listing it multiple times for multiple
Well, you can
numbers.
list
I don't
multiple
know.
times. The folder would say like 2, and then what business. And then within that folder, if you're putting the number ahead of it, then whoever's posting can go in later. Maybe all of us are going to go in and post later, but it's just a nice way to organize when we post. This is due in August. So if you're posting in late June, and I'm aging myself here, but if I'm posting in late June, I'm going to have to really think about where it is. I'd like to have the number right up front on the file, because inevitably when I download it into the application, we need to add that number so they know which section we're trying to get points.
Well, that happens when you go into the certification page. You actually list what documents go with what. When you submit it on the Sustainable CT website, you list which documents, go with which, and I'm sure you've seen that if you've been on there. So it's clear in the application.
Can I say something? Sorry, let me just say
Yeah.
something. So do we have multiple people working on the same section? Meaning, do we have people working on, for example, it is 2, right? So section 2 has multiple subsections. Do we have a situation where we have multiple people working on the same section, like somebody works on 2.1, somebody works on 2.2? I think that's when the complexity is, Amanda. I would say if someone owns the entire section like 2, we should just leave it to them, because then they can rename or rename however they want. I know we have a special case with Lauren because she's going to take a break. I think what Amanda may be saying is, if we have documents associated with 2.1, can we just name them 2.1 within the folder? That way everybody knows what documents goes where. But I'm okay if you are responsible for the entire folder, then you manage it. But if there are multiple people working on the same topic, like 2.0, and then
Lauren works on 2.1, I work on 2.4, maybe then we want to name them so that we know what documents belong to which section.
That's right.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Mohan. And Carolyn has, her system for naming her documents, and there's previous systems in the past, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that we've used. So
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, whatever makes it
So that
easier for
makes
you
sense.
guys. I'm just gonna say if two people are working on the same thing, you guys just figure it out a way. It's just
Yeah.
not complicated, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are the sole owner, it's up to you because you have everything. You will upload it to the sustainable cities port anyway, and it's all good. Okay.
Makes sense to me. Okay.
Okay. Very good. All right.
Carolyn,
So
did you want to add anything about the sustainable CT?
Yeah, just I did things a little bit differently. So I originally started adding files to the shared Google Drive, and then I went to complete the application, and I couldn't figure out how to get the documents from the Google Drive into the application because it doesn't present itself as an option. It really has to kind of come from your computer.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I've completed 4 action items, but those documents aren't necessarily in this Google Drive because they were in my computer. I can now go back and I can take those documents and I can put them in the Google Drive, but it just made more sense to me to take them directly from my computer and put them in the application and mark the application as completed. I think we're going to have the assistance of 2 of the interns as of next week, and they're the ones who review the completed action items. And I have 4 that they can look at right now, and by next week there will be more. So I'm trying to get things done as expeditiously as possible. So my Google Drive might not. You could go into it and it won't be labeled the way it is in the application because I haven't really been using the Google Drive. I guess that's my point. But the action items are completed. So I think, I think that's the important thing. And like I said, I can now take those items and I can put them in the Google Drive just so that they're all in one place.
So Caroline, may I suggest something?
Mhm.
Honestly, the Google Drive exists as an aid for us to complete the certification. I don't want to create more work for you. If you have already uploaded the data previous to this Google Drive situation from your computer to the sustainable city, because that's where they will live, I would just leave it there.
Okay.
We just have it there so that you guys have a place to put it if there is, beyond sustainable city, if there's discovery, we do things so that you have it, right? If it's not there, if it's too complicated, just leave it. I would not.
Okay. Okay, then I will. I'll just leave it. I can
please.
use the Google Drive for things that I don't necessarily, if I come across something and I don't necessarily know who is taking responsibility for that action item, I'll put it in my drive so then I can then tell someone, and then let's say Amanda's doing it and I can just tell Amanda, go to my drive and you'll find that document.
Particularly when you want to share with the committee members, that's when this is useful. Again, this is not an aid to create more work. Copy here, copy there. What purpose does it serve if you've already moved there? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. That's good. Okay. That's good. I would say, Amanda, any update from you? I know that Caroline, we had discussed this whole equity piece, which may be a requirement for us for certification. So I think Amanda had a few ideas. She had talked to people. So let's see where we are. Amanda, any updates from you?
So, one equity toolkit is for silver and 2 for gold. Do I remember that right, Carolyn?
1 for bronze and 3 for silver.
Oh, is it? Okay. So
Yeah.
we have 1 for sure. We have, without doing any projects, we have, she thought there was a health assessment we did. There's probably something in that we can use. There's an affordable housing from 22 we can use. There's a DEI that the Department of Education did we can use. There's the Thriving Youth Task Force that we can probably use. And then the Great Island, she was going to go back. In theory, the equity toolkit needs to be completed and the Great Island obviously isn't, but there are pieces of that she thinks is very viable and something that we can include. So we could have, without much heavy lift, 5.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'm gonna talk with Kathy. We're emailing on a time because she handled a lot of the equity toolkit last go around, to see like what exactly do we need to be handing in. There's some great stuff on the website that our liaison with sustainability reviewed and gave us the go ahead with these. So I'm hoping to talk with Kathy in the next week or so. I've had 2 big projects on my plate that end this week, so this is kind of my next focus, and I'll have more on that equity toolkit stuff in the coming weeks. The other thing I have is 2 of my sections are collecting information on town events going on. And so I'm keeping an ongoing list. So I did put 2 or 3 sections completed on the application so Summer could review them and make sure that I'm on the right track. She did review those. Those are good to go. I want to update them, you know, depending on when we want to finalize this, but I would love to keep these documents as a running document. So when we have to apply later, we're not scrambling to find this data again, but it's kind of continued. So although they're on the application now, I will update those before our final finish, and add anything from kind of April to when we finish.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda. So I think the last update will be from me. So we had a few things, going on. So the first one was around benchmarking and tracking energy use. So we were able to contact our last point of contact from Yukon, Amy
Thompson.
Thompson. Yeah, Tony was able to contact her. And then she came back to us and said, Eversource now provides directly this info. That would mean there is no additional research or tracking we need to do. And she had told us that she's going to send an email to Eversource to provide that information to us, give us the point of contact. We haven't heard anything from Eversource. We're gonna follow up with her and see what needs to happen. If not, if it's Eversource, we may have a way to directly contact Eversource and get it done. So I'm gonna give her a few more days and see where we land on it. But looks like it's a mechanical exercise because they have the data, they will give it to us, and then we just upload it and call it a day. So that looks like, Caroline, an easy one to do.
Good. And then we already have the Energy Star buildings from last time that I think the credit will carry over in this application, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So we will see what happens. I just want to make sure that we're not overriding her because she did offer to reach out to Eversource. So I want to be courteous to her so that,
Right.
we don't want to double dip on this. Okay. So the other thing is about the CPACE program participation. So I did reach out to Christina. Christina, I think that's the contact you gave me, Caroline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I haven't heard back from her. If I don't hear anything, I don't know if she was out of office.
She may not still be there. I mean, she was the contact the last 2 rounds. I think there's a more general Connecticut Green Bank email that's actually in the application. I was looking at it today. So her email, the email that you're sending to her may just be going, to no one. So it might be a good idea to use the general email that's in the application.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I will give her, I thought maybe if she's out of the office or whatever. So I'm just going to go to their contact page and then, submit a request. So let's see where we end up with that. But again, a lot of this looks like a mechanical exercise. There is not a whole for us to do, because
Mhm.
either we have implemented the CPS program or we not. Either we qualify or we don't qualify. There's nothing nothing much we can do. So anyway, so those are the couple of items we had. So I will follow up with her and see where we go from there. I think
And
Suma.
what's the program?
Pace.
CPACE.
Pace. Thank you.
C-PACE, CPACE program, because
got
these are the energy subsidies or whatever they encourage you to adopt sustainable energy projects within town, etc. So
And Mohan, I think we'll definitely get credit for having signed the agreement with CPACE, and
Yep.
that we should be able to just carry that over from the last application that's
Yep.
in there. I put in my Google Drive, and you will see it there. I came across an article that the downtown development, they use CPACE for some of
Okay.
those buildings. So there clearly we should be able to get at least 5 points for that, if not more.
Okay, wonderful.
Abby, have you
Correct.
been to the sustainability CT application?
I haven't.
Do you have you given Summer your email to have access to it?
No.
So let me say, I don't think Abby knows who Summer is, Amanda. So yeah, so I will introduce Summer to her over an email, and then yeah, she can walk you through the certification process. Abby, basically, there's a portal. We can you can give her your email, and she can add it to the list, and you will be able to see the application itself.
Okay.
Status, etc. So that brings up an important thing. Again, I will send you another email. Do you have, I know that you are working on other committees in town, maybe. So do you have a town email?
I don't.
Do you want to use the town email? Are you comfortable using the town email?
I don't know what that's for.
Okay. So
like for the town, like the town email would just be
committee
for the
business.
application.
Yeah, no. The town. Okay, we as a member of committee here can get a town email. For example, I started using my town email because there are, for example, they say that everything is due for discovery. If there is something which need to happen, we are discussing town business. So if they want to know what we have discussed, so if we are using Gmail, we may have to give information from Gmail. So I have chosen, some of us have chosen to use the town email for town business. Versus some of us have said, well, there's too many. There's a logistical thing, right? I got to maintain 3 emails. It make no sense.
Yeah.
So I was asking.
That's me.
Yeah, if you prefer to use the town email, so you can send an email to Linda and the town people, and they will get you a town email so that which you can then use it for all town businesses. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Hey, Abby, I'll send you a couple emails with some instructions on what Summer, the sustainable CT person, gave me instructions on how to, create the account and do all the things. And then if you want to give me a call, I can walk you through anything on the sustainable CT and to the degree of limited knowledge that I have.
Thank you.
So Lauren, thank you so much for relieving me of the responsibility to give information. So I'm just offloading it to you. So you guys still come.
I have the emails from Summer because I asked her a bunch of questions. So I have it readily available.
I totally appreciate it. Then I would have to go by memory. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the height of collaboration is all I say. I'm so okay.
Oh, our next topic, Carolyn, collaboration.
We are doing great.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry, communication strategy update. I said, Lauren, 5 minutes. So before we move on to you, question. So on the item of collaboration, do committee members think, because we communicate a lot of things here or emails, I'm just going to say I was worried if Amanda does not show up because she has to go somewhere, we could not record the meeting, we could not even get in. My question was, are you guys open to exchange, not the business matters, just meetings on, meetings off, who is attending, etc., either or WhatsApp or text message? I'm just going to ask that question because there's an alternative mode of communication for the committee members, etc. Is there a reservation? I was just going to say, do we need to have a WhatsApp group or a text message group where we use it just for who is available for the meeting, who is available for etc. If not, we can continue the email. If there's openness to do it, we can just create. If even one objection, I don't want to even talk about it because it doesn't matter.
I think we
Good
have
idea.
to use the email. I mean, I think Cliff, do you remember what Ed said about this? I think if there's more than a quorum on a text chain or an email chain,
Talking about business.
Just
yes.
our meeting. Our meeting is everybody. Amanda is not available. Everybody's sitting here on the call versus kids, and then say, yeah, I don't know. So, all right, that's fine. Leave that with me. Let me clarify the town committee first. I want
Yeah, I think, yeah, do that.
We'll come back to that. Okay.
Do that.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline. So, but in the meantime, think about it.
What you're getting at, Mohan, which is, are we all committing to come to the meeting? So we know if there's a quorum, we need at least, what, 3 people? And so, you know, and we're a committee, Carolyn isn't a voting committee member. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 of us. Because Suman's not here today. So if 3 are missing, we don't have a quorum, which is what happened in our last meeting.
Correct. I was just going to say,
we're
yeah, for example, Amanda, I had to work that day in Stanford. I took all the pain to come to the meeting, and then you decided not to show up. I'm just kidding. So I know you had your prior whatever. I'm just saying maybe if we know in advance, we may say, yep, so we can't meet, so let's cancel. I was just saying, can we just use some text message just for this trivial things, nothing to do with discussing business, that's all. Yeah, all right. So let me check the town people. And then in the meantime, if anybody disagrees to share your phone number, please let me know. Then I won't go through that pain unnecessarily. That's all. Okay.
I mean, text might be the quickest and easiest, just the least painful, but that's just my opinion.
I would agree with that. And it's like meeting date and time in person or Zoom, yes or no.
Yeah, that's it.
That's literally all it would be, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. All right, Lauren. So back to you on the communication strategy.
All right. I mean, I'll turn it over to, this will be joint between Carolyn and I, because we spent a few hours this week on Facebook and Instagram. Carolyn didn't, I mean, just pulling her hair out, basically, I think, because so essentially we had decided to, you know, I had written the communications plan, and you guys all reviewed it, and we have like kind of a straw man of what we plan to do, which is post on Facebook and Instagram, right? And do more of that, you know, do more kind of like maybe targeted and planned out approach. But before we do that, we needed to change the name from Recycle,
Darien Recycling Center.
Yeah, Darien Recycling Center, to on both Instagram and Facebook to Darien Sustainability. So we had success with one out of 2, which is the Facebook page. So thank you, Carolyn, for helping me do this. I think we have this in place for Facebook. Now, when we tried to create a new Instagram page, we ran into some issues. So we were actually going to pull back and ask you, Mohan, for some help.
Oh, geez. Okay.
If you know anything, because what we need to do is go in and then link this one to the Instagram one. But we're just we kind of struggled through this.
Yeah, we just we just weren't able to establish an Instagram account under this name. You know, we tried, you know, going into Meta, going into Instagram, the help menus, and we would get steps to follow, but then the steps didn't. The prompts weren't there as described in the steps. So we spent a fairly significant amount of time on this, and we just don't have an account set up yet. So,
so we have the recycling center, but we don't have the new one that we need to link. It
So
should be a
it's
little,
still linked to the old one is what's happening?
yeah.
It just wasn't allowing us to set up, and apparently you can set up 5 accounts under one.
Yeah.
You can have 5 accounts, and we just weren't able to do it. We were Googling the steps to do it, and we were trying everything, and it just wasn't, the prompts, the links and the prompts just weren't there that were described in the steps. So I don't know why that is, but it is. So we need some assistance with.
Okay, that's fine. So let's do one thing again. So Caroline, maybe we can set up some time, you and me,
Sure.
and go through it. Not that I'm going to solve the problem, but maybe I'll become the same problem and say, well, this is not solvable. Let's think about something else. Yeah, let's have a conversation.
And I gave you all the ability to post for the Facebook, but I think once we figure out the Instagram, then we can post on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. So it makes more sense to just kind of wait until we get it all figured out and everybody has the same capability. So all of you, except for Abby, have the ability to post on the Facebook right now. Your administrators or whatever we call it.
Mohan's an administrator and everyone else and you're an administrator and everyone else is editors.
Yeah.
So sorry, so what identities did we use? Our Facebook accounts or our...
Yeah, you should have received an invitation through your Facebook to accept that you are an administrator, editor, whatever it is of that.
Administrator.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And we can do that for Abby too once we get it set up.
Okay. Maybe then the 3 of us, whenever you guys are available, let me know. We can jump over a call and then see what's happening. Okay.
Okay.
Before you leave that topic, I haven't received an invitation to do that. Would that pop up when I log into Facebook?
Yeah, it should. It should be a message or a notification, Cliff.
Notification and Facebook.
Yeah, look in your notifications.
Yeah. Okay.
And Amanda, you too.
I saw it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. Lauren invited you to manage. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Maybe invite.
I found it.
Okay, good. Yay.
Awesome. So, okay. Cool.
So once people start posting, one of the things I mentioned to Lauren is, it would be good if everyone, anytime you're on Facebook or Instagram, if you look for our posts and like them and or share them as appropriate, just to get more eyeballs on them, because, I just found over the years, it's helpful to have people on the committee like and share the post. It just gets more traction that way.
Carolyn, also we're going to need to add as many followers as we can. I don't know if you want to set goals or anything, but certainly we'll try to duplicate everybody that follows Darien Recycling, and then try to add,
I'm gonna do a post on Darien Recycling, asking people to now follow Darien Sustainability, that this account is now being handed off to Darien Sustainability. So follow Darien Sustainability.
After we get the Instagram up and running, we can do it for both.
I mean, I think we could do that now.
I don't know, because people that are on Instagram are on Facebook and vice versa. When maybe we do it all at the same time and say, hey, everybody go do this on both of your social media pages. I don't know.
I guess we could wait.
I don't know.
Doesn't hurt.
Whatever you think.
Except there's things happening that people need to know about.
I know.
Like Household Hazardous Waste Day and the farmers market. And, there's all kinds of things happening that people need to be aware of.
That's a good point.
I mean, I can keep posting on Darien Recycling Center until I can do that.
That's what I think. That's what I think. Just keep posting on Recycling Center until we figure everything out. And then we have the plan for adding followers.
Then we kind of
sharing
people over.
Moving. Yeah. That's my opinion.
And
certainly.
then you get followers by having good content. When you have content that's relevant, good content that's relevant to people, and when they see it, that's when you tend to see people following you because they
Yeah,
want
and
to
I think if we all post, like if we all start posting like as much as we can, to get the ball rolling, it'll be like different topics and different voice and, whatever we think is interesting, because it might not be the same for me and you.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
I don't know. Okay.
And if you're still doing Darien Recycling Center, on posts, we can add like, see Darien sustainability for more on this, or
Yep.
right? So it's driving traffic that way.
Sure, we can have some overlap. I can keep it going for a little while until we get fully over.
Yeah, this whole, honestly, the topic on recycling, I know that we are kind of moving to a different side, but that's still very, very important. Somehow we need to keep that linkage for recycling. Because I was just today at an innovation summit at Yale. There are things which cannot be recycled. Here we're talking about things can be recycled. If you look at the amount of things that cannot be recycled, just in the fashion industry, they were talking ton of it cannot be recycled because cotton is mixed with polyester and nothing can go anywhere. It's impossible. So I think this is, we cannot lose sight of it. So I know that we are renaming as Darien Sustainability, but still we have to somehow keep posting everything that happens there so that we are still motivating people to do their part. So excellent. Thank you. Okay, so let me see what else we got going here. So just before we move on to the topic, Lauren and Caroline, we can text, let me know when are you guys available? So I'm happy to make time so we can go through. Either conclude, we need a different page or whatever, so we can settle it. Thank you. Waste management. So Cliff, just sending this your way.
Well, as you know, because you're in the email chain, the appointment that I had with David Genovese, he's begged off. He wants to make it later. I responded to him twice, actually. The second one was asking if there was someone else I could meet with about the topic, and I haven't heard back.
Okay.
I also have reached out to planning and zoning to talk to them about the plan for conservation and development, and whether that's a place we should have this concept of, if you're building multifamily housing, you have to build in something for food scrap recycling, or if it's not there, how do we get P&Z to make sure that happens? So I'm hoping I'll have a good discussion with Jeremy Ginsberg on that. I'm also trying to get more information from Curbside Compost so that I can catch up to Caroline a little bit in terms of knowledge and background on that topic, because obviously it's different for an individual, it's different for a large organization, and how are they going to fit it into these multifamily unit things? I just need to explore with them what their thoughts are. So those are, and I haven't yet, but I do intend to reach out to the other developments in town once I have a little bit more information from Curbside Compost.
Cliff, you're working with David on the school stuff? Composting?
The school thing, they're doing their own thing at this point. We've offered to help them in any way we can, including doing research and including trying to help get a grant for a pilot program or something. But as of the moment, they seem to be content. They have had a lot of information about this directly from the state.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you were here, Lauren, when we sort of debriefed from our meeting with them, but they were enthusiastic and they were committed, and they felt that they had the custodians on their side, and it really looks like that's going to go forward. And it may very well be that there's no role for us whatsoever. All we care about is that it's done. And that if we can help expedite it or move it along, that they know we are available to them as a resource.
I hope they're realizing it's going to be a requirement. We think,
No,
right?
they know.
So,
they know.
yeah. Okay. So then, so this David is from what? Sorry, I didn't.
David Genovese is the Corbin Project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, Cliff, I'm thinking, does it make sense for the school people to maybe can we invite them maybe once a quarter or whenever so that they can tell us what they're doing for two purposes. Can we help if they need help? Second of all, things like sustainable city have an implication. If they're doing something, we may be able to get some points out of it. So just wondering, just so that it's not lost, because I know that you have spent a ton of time. I don't know if that makes sense to have them either give us a status update here or via email, etc.
Well, that's an interesting idea. Maybe I ought to spend a little more time digesting it. To me, that sounds like adding another burden for them. And I mean, as a former school administrator, that would be my reaction. Here you're asking, it's one thing to offer help, it's another thing to ask them to account to you. But it would, I mean, so in terms of sustainable CT with an application going in August, if I understand, they're aiming for something in 2026.
Yeah, it's July 2026 when the law goes into effect.
So it's not going to be in time for this application.
That's fine. I mean, that was my afterthought. The real question was if they're doing something, maybe we can shed some light into it through our postings and otherwise. So, at least we put out there that Darien is doing things of this nature. And certainly if there are roadblocks which they run into, we can help them. Again, there are too many dimensions to it. The question was, how do we keep the communications lines open with them so that we know what they're doing? That's all.
So each time, I mean, you just suggested something that could be helpful to them. In fact, more than one thing, but the one that pops out in my mind is, we do have this website, and if we can post something on that could be helpful to you as you try to do this, we'd be happy to do it. Offering them something like that is a good follow-up, a good communication. And the more ideas we have like that for them, I think the more the communications will flow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, so I will leave this in your hands if you feel at some point that we should be in touch with them, because again, I don't want to create too many communication channels because that's going to be distracting. They would be confused who is talking what. But if you are talking to them, you should. So let us know how do we proceed, if it makes sense to reach out to them for an update at some point. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And again, I'm just going to say I'm really a little disappointed with the meeting with David Genovese, because I know that you have been working very hard to get that meeting set up a couple of times, and then we get pushed to fall, and we may end up not having any ability to influence anything because it may be too late if they're not already thinking about it. It's slightly disappointing, unfortunately. Yeah, but
it is. But I will say, based, the survey that I did for Sustainable CT last time was eye-opening, because there are a lot of issues that arise in multifamily housing in terms of dealing with food scraps. And anything that's already fully designed, it's a little late.
Yeah.
And even if they had something, it's a little unclear. Anyway, I won't. It's a complicated topic. In principle, you're right. The later it is, the worse off we are, and that's why I asked to see somebody else. And I do intend to pursue it.
No, I think he was courteous enough to offer the meeting. I mean, he took time to set it up, but we know that there are other priorities which takes, unfortunately. So let's we hope we can have a meaningful engagement and timely engagement. So because if they set up everything and it's going to cost more, it's all becomes a logistical nightmare even for them. So yeah. All right. So thank you. The last topic we have is the gas powered leaf blowers. Certainly we heard from members of the community last time, the concerns, etc. So I did volunteer last time. If nothing else happens, I might starting to look at it because I had produced the initial paper on it, working with the help of Cliff and Kathy. Certainly that paper is still out there. Is there any interest from any members today to volunteer to help in that gas-powered leaf blower aspect, taking the work which was done before? I'm just going to put it out there. Certainly knowing that my EV work may be slowing down now for various reasons. Certainly I might find some time, but I'm happy to take any help that anybody can provide.
Mohan, can you I'm trying to recall what we were discussing last time. We needed somebody to update what other towns are doing. Was that the specific ask?
A few things.
Hmm.
Take the work we have done in the past committees, right? So the past committee when we were in action the previous year, not the previous, the 2 years ago. Take a look at the document and then say what is still relevant from that, from noise, from health, and all other, the ecological impact perspective, and then also research into what other towns are doing. I do have some material sent from the last member of the public who was there. He did send me some material, and then update it, and then present it to the committee, and then see maybe what else we need to do to present it to the the selectmen's committee so that they can take action, what recommendation we can provide, etc. That was the ask, Cliff. And I over enthusiastically said, well, I can look at it. And you said, okay, now we got too many things going on. So put it to the committee, and thank you for your advice. So I'm putting it to the committee. So
Do you
So,
think ask for
Abby,
help from the person who I mean, the people that are coming to our meetings and like speaking up about that? I mean, do you think they might be interested in helping us do some of this research? Can we like reach back out to them?
we invited him to join the committee.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And they might, right? So, Lauren, two things. They might help to research, but again, we as a committee has to produce the content, right? Recommendations, etc. And if he's not part of the committee, he can give us the content that's different. But then one of us need to take initiative and run it. That's all. So,
Yeah.
I can jump in here.
okay.
So, Abby, just by way of a little bit of background, the paper you'll see talks about the problem with noise pollution and air pollution from these single-stroke gas engines. I doubt very much that much of the science will have changed on any of that. We also had information about what other towns are doing. That certainly has evolved from where we were. The RTM, Abby, have you been in town for a while? Are you familiar with terms like RTM?
I am, yep.
Okay. The RTM took up gas blowers, but only with respect to the noise.
Okay.
I was trying to get them to expand that to include the pollution aspect, and get them to move us to electric as opposed to the single-stroke gas engines, which are so highly polluting. So I just mentioned all of that by way of a little background.
Okay.
So
They talked about the some of the mental related, like health related ramifications, I think, on one of our calls too, which I thought was particularly interesting. Kind of how you dug into that. Did you do some of that research?
I did some of it.
Yeah. Like that it was causing actual mental health concerns among people as well, right? It wasn't just like breathing.
Well, it's a combination of the noise and the pollutants.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think I'm just showing the piece. I think there was a piece Cliff did and Kathy did some work, and I had done this piece. So Abby, I'm showing the document here, which is like a partial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all the content we have on this, so that you can take a look, and then certainly we are all here to help, as needed. I did do quite a bit of research before coming up with this particular paper. You can see that also. So there are a lot of links here, which gives a lot of context, which to make either prove that we need to improve the situation of these gas-powered leaf blowers in town, because there are real issues, and also other towns in Connecticut are taking action while we are not as much they are. So, etc. So I will send you the information so that you have it all, and then we can chat as needed. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, that was the last agenda item. Before we log off, I was just going to ask Abby, is there anything else you want to add, comment? You have seen the first committee's action here. Anything you want to say? So feel free to share.
Oh, thank you. You're all doing a great job.
Thank you. So that's good. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. Once a second. Is there a second to move?
Again.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So Amanda, we can shut down the recording, and if you can please send the link to Jim, that would be great. Thank you so much all. Have a wonderful night. Bye now.
Thank you. Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Night.
Great.